Happening now, we hear from friends of a Jamestown teen killed in a crash as they celebrate what would have been her 16th birthday. And police in Jamestown are addressing traffic troubles at almost all local schools. Plus, a motion that supports efforts to combat COVID-19 is denied by local lawmakers. We have reaction from residents.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. The check of all of our latest local news is coming up, but first, we're yet again onto that weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us now. And Dakota, a lot is happening today in terms of that frigid cold temperatures. Jamestown Public Schools on a 2-hour delay because of it. How cold are we clocking in today?
Well, as of this morning, these were the low temperatures at all the observation sites. A goose egg here in Jamestown, 7 below in Randolph, about 17 below at the Mesonet site in Clymer, 6 above in Fredonia, 7 above in Dunkirk. But these were the air temperatures. The wind chill was even worse. These are the lowest wind chill numbers, 27 below zero in Clymer this morning. That was the lowest observed wind chill, 23 below in Allegheny, that's in Cattaraugus County. Maple Springs, 18 below, 15 below in Frewsburg, also here in town at 15 below, and 11 below in Fredonia. So, man, it was a very chilly start to the day, and we're going to have at least a couple more days of that before we start to see the tides turning a little bit into early next week. We're starting to see some snow starting to move into Erie County, Pennsylvania. We are going to ultimately see some lake effect snow showers developing later in the day for the southern tier. So 21 to 30 through the day today, partly sunny early this afternoon through mid this afternoon. More clouds thicken up later in the day. Lake effect snow develops and it will be breezy with a south wind 10 to 25 miles per hour. Now, more of this cold air is on the way, but a big change arrives early next week. We'll talk about it with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show. Justin?
Yeah, definitely the advice. If you're going out today, you need to bundle up. Dakota, we'll see you back in just a bit. Well, the Jamestown Police Department is warning drivers to follow traffic laws when picking up and dropping off their kids from school. This as traffic misery is unfolding on some city streets. The department responded to traffic congestion concerns in a post on social media. Officers say drivers are parking and facing both directions on both sides of the street, and then they are traveling both directions down the middle lane, causing gridlock. This creates what the department calls a dangerous situation when cars are not only restricting emergency traffic flow, like ambulances and fire trucks, but also kids walking to and from class. Almost every school in the district is having problems, police say, from elementary schools to Jamestown High School in downtown. Officers have attempted to correct the situation and to no avail. As for where to park, the department goes on to say, when in doubt, unless you are on a one-way street, your driver's side door should never be parked along a curb. The traffic flow problems follow 2 incidents in December when 2 students were hit while crossing the street near Purcell Middle School. The city and district are now vying for a traffic study to examine pedestrian improvements in that area. Although it's cold outside, it appears the winter COVID-19 surge might be coming to an end here locally as cases continue to trend downward. Our Julia Gress has the latest from the County Health Department.
There is an abundance of various rapid home tests available right now. And because of that, we know that there are people out there who are utilizing them, and we're glad that they are, but they're not reporting the results to us. And I don't think we're unique in that aspect. I think that's happening everywhere. And we're going to continue to see that because of the availability of home tests.
Chautauqua County Health Director Christine Schuyler says that this lack of data affects important statistics like active cases and positivity rates.
We're empowered to really transition into a different way of disease surveillance. And I would assume it's more along the lines that we're used to doing for other reportable diseases. And we really need to stay on top of what we're seeing as far as severe illness and death, and including, the stress on our hospital systems.
Cases, according to the latest weekly update, are trending downward, with only 1,600 new cases this week. Officials believe this could be a sign of the Omicron variant dying out.
Those that are at highest risk of severe illness or death from a COVID-19 or a SARS infection are those of advanced age and those who have severe illness or an underlying health condition that puts them at a higher risk for severe illness. So if someone is overweight or obese, if they're diabetic, if they have hypertension, heart disease, lung disease.
She continues that the disease most likely will not go away, but instead we will need to learn to live with it. Herd immunity worldwide is a feat unlikely to be achieved due to low levels of vaccination, says Schuyler. The virus will continue to mutate, and the world will only be able to react.
COVID-19 vaccine doesn't prevent you from becoming infected per se. Some people it does. It all depends on your immune system and how your body reacts.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. Our health director also says that despite the back and forth, the mask mandate for indoor settings is still in place and that masks must be worn when indoor public places. A motion that supports efforts to combat COVID-19, like wearing a mask in public and getting vaccinated, was struck down by the Chautauqua County Legislature on Wednesday night. As first proposed by Fredonia Democrat Susan Parker, the motion titled Encouraging Best Practices to Overcome COVID-19 included support for the county health department's efforts to further vaccinations of residents, including those 5 years old and up. Additionally, the act would have also supported community cooperation in the COVID fight by encouraging all to wear a face mask when in common indoor areas. Before the vote, several on both sides of the issue spoke to the lawmaking body, including Frewsburg resident Garen Kane and Fredonia resident Mary Coxton.
I am a retired nurse. I am here to support the healthcare system. I am also concerned about schools. I want kids to go to school, and wearing a mask will help reduce this spread of COVID along with vaccines.
Essentially, a yes vote on this motion is a vote of approval for top-down government control in a one-size-fits-all solution that never seems to fit our county very well at all. Doesn't fit anywhere else either. The fallout from big government dictating the COVID response has been disastrous.
In the end, the measure needed 10 signatures to move to the floor to be voted on. However, it only received 4 acts of support and then failed to move to a vote. A crash on I-90 yesterday caused problems for drivers all day and even into the night. Erie News Now's Kristen Allen has more on the issues that happened in our region.
Traveling east on Interstate 90 Wednesday has been a nightmare. A combination of low visibility and tractor-trailer accidents made a long day for drivers.
I didn't know what type of accident happened there because they had the road closed. So I had to take 86, go around, take a back route, and hit back on the 90.
A multi-vehicle accident involving tractor-trailers caused traffic to come to a standstill for several hours. Traffic was diverted onto I-86, but that didn't make matters much better.
There was a lot of semis, all of them were going around that turn.
What normally would have been about a 15-minute detour took an hour and a half for some.
We got more snow than we thought we were going to get. I think a lot of people were surprised by the snow, and unfortunately we were as well.
Jill Harry, spokesperson for PennDOT, says they've certainly had a busy couple of days dealing with leftover slush and new snow, as well as several accidents.
Not everyone was slowing down, and the weather was really kind of taking some people by surprise, I think, because the way the snow was falling very heavy in just certain areas.
Now traffic is flowing in both directions on I-90. PennDOT says it's vital to keep an eye on 511pa.com to see if there are any speed restrictions on your route if you have to be out traveling. Truckers who are moving along Wednesday night say so far, so good.
Now, so far, yeah, the weather's good, the roads are good. And I don't know how it is further up as soon as you hit Ohio, but we'll see.
Kristen Allen, Erie News Now.
All right, Kristen, thank you. Next, as WNY News Now continues, the latest in New York's redistricting process of your vote. We speak with our state senator about where things stand. And a little bit later on, the community is remembering a young life gone too soon on what would have been her 16th birthday today. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters.
This is WNY News Now.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
3 men wanted in connection with a Northeast Pennsylvania homicide were arrested this week at a Chautauqua County hotel. The sheriff's Southern Tier Regional Drug Task Force and others executed a search warrant on a room at the Clarion Point Hotel on Tuesday. The raid followed a tip from U.S. Marshals that 3 wanted men, 18-year-old Sammy Carsolello Jr., 32-year-old Mark Smith, and 28-year-old James Terrell were staying there. As a result of the search, investigators allegedly found 22 ounces of methamphetamine, around 7 grams of fentanyl, 1 gram of cocaine, and $600 in cash. And a homeless Jamestown man is facing charges after allegedly showing off his genitalia to those at a local hospital emergency department waiting room overnight. City of Jamestown police officers responded to UPMC Chautauqua Hospital around 9:40 last night to investigate the reported incident. Now, following further review, it's alleged that 39-year-old Kenneth Trask exposed his private parts to several people, including a 15-year-old girl there. Trask was taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of public lewdness and endangering the welfare of a child. Police say because of New York's bail reform laws, he was released from custody. And a New York state senator is blasting the Democrats in the state legislature for the role they're playing in mapping of the New York congressional districts. State Senator George Borrello spoke with us yesterday on the topic. The Republican from Irving has been a vocal critic of Democrats in what he says is an effort to gerrymander Republicans out of the district. Borrello says although the Independent Redistricting Commission appears to be doing its job, the Democrats are continuing to pursue what he calls a power seizure.
They want to try to gerrymander out as many Republicans as possible in Congress in New York State. So I'm, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen at this point, but there will be lawsuits as well. And ultimately, this is creating more chaos. It's going to mean that we're going to be bumping up against the deadline for, which, by the way, the Democrats pushed for, this to moving the primary date from September to June. Now that means, by March 1st, we have to have petitions out there. And here we are a month away, and we don't even know what the districts look like. So, this is their dumpster fire, quite frankly. And
lawmakers reportedly plan on voting on drawn-up maps next week as New York prepares to lose its 27th congressional seat. Well, at the Pennsylvania State Capitol, Democratic lawmakers spoke about the need to advance prison reform legislation. As Capitol correspondent Brendan Scanlon reports.
Out of the 7 pieces of legislation, there were 4 pieces of it that had bipartisan support.
Today, Pennsylvania Democrats continue efforts to build bipartisan support for a group of prison reform bills focusing on behavioral correction and reintegration into society.
We spend way too much money incarcerating people who are no longer a threat or danger to society.
Two of the bills seek to provide medical parole for terminally ill and elderly nonviolent inmates.
The cost of incarceration for geriatric individuals can be up to over $100,000, which is about 2.5 times more costly than other people.
This is why we must allow for elderly nonviolent inmates to have medically debilitating or terminal ailments a medical parole.
Some legislation also addresses prison nutrition.
The reality is nutrition-based diseases are more prevalent in prison populations than in the general population.
There's also a bill to provide a briefing for incarcerated veterans.
A briefing that tells them about their military and veterans benefits that are available to them as they move back into society.
Representative Joe Webster says as many as 180,000 veterans are incarcerated in the United States, roughly 5,000 right here in Pennsylvania.
In this case, no matter what the circumstances and reasons that a veteran might be serving time in prison, we should also be aware that they have served our country.
In Harrisburg, Brendan Scanlon reporting.
Brendan, thank you. We're still waiting to hear back from the House Republican caucus to see if they support any of the measures Representative Kinsley was referring to. Well, a Western New York couple has been charged with a felony for allegedly using falsified vaccination cards at the Buffalo Bills playoff game against the New England Patriots earlier this month. Erie County District Attorney John Flynn announced the arrest of 34-year-old Michael Knabb and 37-year-old Amber Knabb yesterday. Flynn told reporters that the Bills, which require vaccinations for their home game attendance, had the pair on the team's radar prior to January 15th's playoff game. During the third quarter, the team's representatives and law enforcement approached the seated couple and took them for questioning. Flynn said he wasn't looking to jam them up in terms of the legal outcome, but say he cannot discard the law. Well, coming up, the latest on a push to relieve utility bills and keep your home this winter as we continue to battle this bitter cold. And later, we hear from friends of a Jamestown teen that's killed in a crash as she's set to celebrate what would have been her 16th birthday. But first, when we come back, a full look at our weather forecast, so stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Wanted to give you a live look at the Peak and Peak Skycam to show you, yeah, it's actually a good day to get out there on the ski resorts. And I have seen some skiers out here and some snowboarders out here on this image a little bit earlier on this morning. And speaking about those bases, it's really a good day to get out there. 12 to 24 inches at Peak and Peak, 36 to 48 Cockaigne, 18 to 52 in Holiday Valley, 20 to 46 Hollymont, 12 to 30 in Mount Pleasant. So all the surfaces are good, the bases are good. So today would be a fantastic day to get out there and get some skiing and snowboarding in. But we're going to add a little bit more snow onto these bases here as we go throughout today and into tonight. So this is the forecast snow totals going all the way through Friday night. We're averaging about 1 to 3 inches, but when you get into this blue strip right in here, these little blue areas, you could see upwards of 3, 4, 5 inches. In fact, the Weather Service just 60 seconds ago just posted a winter weather advisory for Chautauqua County and Erie County, Pennsylvania. That starts 7 o'clock tonight and runs until 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So that is a winter weather advisory for Chautauqua and Erie County, Pennsylvania for this lake effect snow that is going to be developing. Live look outside right now shows you some breaks in the cloud cover from the HD News Now cam, new HD News Now cam. 19 degrees is a noon hour. It's still windy though. Southwest wind is 16. That creates a wind chill of 4 above zero, but at least it's not in the negative numbers. And the visibility is actually pretty good as well. So we don't have that snow falling at the airport right now. This is the snow that's starting to come on in. This is prelude to the lake effect. This is mainly impacting Erie County, Pennsylvania, but we are starting to see it creep into the southern tier a little bit. And then this is ultimately going to move through and set the stage for some lake effect to set up through the afternoon. So the newest run of the computer modeling doesn't really pick up on that lake snow until much later on. The snow is arriving of schedule. The modeling didn't really show this first band of snow arriving until around 3 o'clock. So it's kind of ahead of schedule by a couple hours, but you can see we are going to see some lake effect snow setting up here as we go through the afternoon. Now this is just one computer model output and woo, not sure what happened there, but you can see by the day today, the computer's going nuts. 22 degrees at 9 o'clock with that lake effect snow developing. Now the next 7 days of your life coming up on the screen, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. 16 tomorrow with lake effect snow. A super cold day on Saturday. 13 starting Sunday around 0. But at least some sunshine will peek back in here. And take a look at what comes up, Justin, by mid next week. Yeah, the 40s return. It'll be a nice little warm up coming.
I see. So we're punished a little bit with the frigid Arctic air, but then 40 degrees. I mean, that's springtime, right?
Well, it's above average, but I wouldn't count your chickens just yet.
Yeah, no.
We've still got February yet to go, folks.
We'll be 40, and then we'll hit this repeat again, where we'll go back down to the frigid temperatures. So stay safe out there, folks. Today, Dakota. Thank you. Well, some news happening across New York State. For the second time in under a week, the NYPD participated in a dignified transfer of one of their own. Officer Wilbert Mora was one of 2 police officers shot last Friday while responding to a domestic call. Officer Jason Rivera was pronounced dead shortly after that shooting. Officer Mora was pronounced dead on Tuesday. The department honored him with a dignified transfer as his body was moved from the medical examiner's office to the funeral home in Riverdale. Members of the NYPD Highway Department led the solemn procession of motorcycles, followed by NYPD vehicles that brought Moore to the medical examiner's office Tuesday. Finally, black SUVs carrying the fallen officer's family members followed. In one final sacrifice, Officer Moore's organs were harvested. He saved 5 lives by donating his heart, liver, and pancreas, and 2 kidneys. A funeral for Officer Moore will be held next Wednesday. And U.S. Supreme Court Justice is apparently ready to hang up his robes. Justice Stephen Breyer plans to retire after serving more than 2 decades on the High Court. Breyer could make the announcement at the White House as early as today. The 83-year-old has been a consistent liberal vote on the court since he was sworn in 1994. Then President Bill Clinton nominated him to the bench. Breyer is expected to stay on until the end of the term and until Congress confirms his replacement. His retirement would give President Biden a chance to nominate a new liberal voice for the court for the first time since Justice Ellen Kagan was sworn in back in 2010. Now, during his campaign, President Biden vowed to appoint a black female to that bench if a seat opened up. Well, these winter weather and cold temperatures are certainly not going away anytime soon, and officials expect the cost of heating your home to go up by 30% this year, which is hurting people's wallets. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports on one New York senator who's trying to make sure people don't pay too much to cover their energy costs.
In the bipartisan infrastructure bill approved by President Biden a few months ago, $500 million will be invested in the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, better known as LIHEAP, which helps families pay their outstanding heating and cooling bills. Republican Congressman Tom Reed, who supported the infrastructure bill, says there's a lot more money on the table with LIHEAP now and is encouraging people to take advantage of it.
In the state of where people are with all the other increasing costs going through the roof, this is a resource that shouldn't be left unattended.
Even with this boost, New York Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand says LIHEAP has been so severely underfunded that it's only been able to reach about 16% of eligible households in recent years. According to the Energy Information Administration, they expect nearly half of U.S. households that use natural gas heating sources will spend $746 this winter, which is 30% more than they did last winter on average. They say the high prices follow changes to energy supply and increased demand due to the pandemic.
Even before COVID, low-income households in New York were spending $1 in every $8 they earned on their energy bills. That's a significant portion of the household budget.
So she recently introduced legislation that would invest $40 billion in annual funding in LIHEAP.
It would change the eligibility rules to ensure that no household would have to pay more than 3% of their annual income on energy costs.
The senator says as we face colder winters and warmer summers, there will be a greater need for energy assistance.
We have to make sure that every New Yorker, every family, and every child is safe in their home and that the government has the resources it needs to help them meet their energy needs today and tomorrow.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer. She's on the honor roll. She's just not the type.
No way.
No way. No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The teenager who was hit and killed by an allegedly impaired truck driver on New Year's Eve in Jamestown would have turned 16 years old today. In honor of the day, the community is coming together to remember the young life. Friends of Lexi Hugan remembered the young soul as someone who had always had a smile on their face. According to Joshua Skinner, the day shouldn't be filled with grief, but rather remembering the good times.
I know in my head, it was Lexi's soul turning 16 and their body's gone, but they're still turning 16. So in my head, it's just, why not try and celebrate it and remember the times that we had together because they were almost 16.
Since the tragic death, the community has come together to support Hugan's family via GoFundMe page, raising more than $40,000. There are also efforts underway to further Lexi's legacy with a Buffalo Bills jersey fundraiser that will create a music scholarship at Affinity Visual and Performing Arts.
Wherever they are, I'm sure they are very happy with what's going on right now. I just have that feeling.
In addition to the birthday celebrations, City Hall will also pay tribute to the young life by turning the building green and rainbow, two of Lexi's favorite colors.
I've known Lex for 2 years, but in those 2 years, we've been apart for maybe like 5 days in total. And just every single time anything would happen, like I remember somebody was having their birthday come around and they weren't having a birthday party. So Lexi was like, okay, I'm going to throw this kid a birthday party, even though she didn't even like him. She threw him a birthday party because that's just who she was.
She certainly rest in peace. As for the case against the allegedly impaired driver, Randall Rolson, the teens are continuing to push a petition to raise his bail and are calling for vehicular manslaughter charges to be lodged against him. Since our story Monday, that petition has over 2,000 signatures. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. That's it for us today. We'll leave you with this look over Chautauqua Lake. Have a great day and stay warm.